Here we are at our 4.3, number 3 set of notes. We're going to be talking about factoring trinomials, quadratic trinomials, where a is still 1 today. And you have different things such as the GCF might come involved. You might also have some possible different variables. So there's usually a sequence of steps that we follow when we're talking about factoring things. And number 1 is always going to be factor out the greatest common factor right away. So if you can go ahead and pull something out immediately out of all of the terms, you always want to start there because that'll make your life potentially easier later on. And then step 2 is you generally have to factor down your trinomial. Now today, we're really going to talk about factor, especially by grouping. So in the past set of notes, you were kind of just, I don't want to say guessing and checking your way there, but it's just kind of a nice intro to kind of get you into the steps on factoring. And today, we're really going to highlight more factoring by grouping. It is a little bit more of a mainstream approach when you're factoring, and it's definitely handy, especially on later math classes, to know how to factor, especially bigger polynomials. So factoring by grouping is a method you're going to see in these set of notes and also in the future. So definitely pay attention to these ones. Now, when we look at example 1, we're asked to factor the following completely. Now, we notice that our a value here is 1, our b value here is 1 as well, and our c value is negative 90. And when we're talking about factoring by grouping, what we're going to do is take our a value and our c value and multiply those two together. And so when we do that, we end up then with negative 90. Okay, and we kind of already know that it's negative 90, but one thing that we're also going to determine is what is the list of this negative 90 such that when you combine them, you get this 1 in the middle. It's very similar to what we were doing earlier, but factoring by grouping is going to look a little different later on. Okay, so you're kind of still starting out the same as what we did last week. So the factors of 90, you get 1 and obviously 90. Not really close to giving you 1 there. You have 2 and 45. You have 3 and 30. And then we have 4 and 15. No, I'm sorry. 4 and... 4 and... Oh, no, it doesn't go in cleanly into 4. You have 5 and 18. It goes in cleanly into 6. 6 and 15. No 7, no 8, and then 9 and 10. And then from that long list, you're looking and you're seeing which pair combines to give you that 1. Well, 9 and 10 do that. Okay? So we're going to have, it doesn't really matter which order you place these in, so maybe we'll have the 9x here and the 10x here. Now, again, keep in mind, you need to combine this to give you a regular 1x, correct? And as a result of that, you're going to have to kind of play with those values, and to do that, you'd have the 10x has to be positive, the 9x has to be negative for you to get this normal 1x term in the middle. Okay, all we're going to go ahead and do now is drop down the other terms. So the x squared is there, and then the negative 90 is right there. Okay, so again, we just determined from our list what the two numbers were. They were 9 and 10. And then we had to think about what did the signs have to be such that when they combine, you get normal 1. So negative 9 and positive 10. Now we're going to talk about the grouping part. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at these first two as kind of one group together, and then these second two as a different group together. Now, when we look at the first group, x squared minus 9x, what is the biggest thing that you can pull out of both terms? Well, they both share an x, but that's pretty much it. And so you can factor out an x from both of those terms. Okay, and when we do that, we end up then with x minus 9. Now, when we look at the second part, we have that 10x and negative 90. Well, the most that they share in common is a 10. that you can pull out. And when you pull out the 10, you're left with x minus 9. And that 10 is positive. Now, when it comes to grouping, you notice that they both share a common factor of x minus 9. What you're really doing is you're factoring out that x minus 9 term out of both of those. And when you do that, you're left then with this x plus 10. So that is your factored form, and especially using the grouping approach. Trust me when I say, I know it seems like more steps than it did last week. It's going to pay huge dividends when you do it this route, okay? But again, though, that is example 1 from our 4.3, number 3 set of notes.